Hi everyone, I'm Liz Peterson, and welcome back to another one of my Pipedrive training videos. Today's tutorial is an advanced version of the video I dropped last week. I'm going to teach you how to build the single most important automation you can build in Pipedrive, which will automatically create an activity every time a new deal is added to your pipeline. But what makes this video different is we're going to create a different activity depending on where the deal is created. For example, many of your deals are going to start at the beginning. That may be, for example, requesting a quote appointment or requesting a discovery call. But some deals may start in a later stage. Maybe you have a repeat customer who you can provide a quote for without the quote appointment. Or maybe while you're out at a quote appointment, a neighbor approaches you interested in your services, and you're able to have the quote appointment as a part of your first interaction with that customer. In these cases, a blanket first activity won't be right. So in this video, I'll teach you how to create a unique first activity for each of your pipeline stages. Now, before setting up any automations, of course, you have to have a Pipedrive account. If you haven't already signed up for Pipedrive, you can sign up for a free trial using the link included in the description below, which will get you an extended 30-day free trial. So that it's really easy to find, I've also included it as a pinned comment below. Last thing before diving in. If you like this content and you want to be notified when the next video drops, be sure to subscribe by clicking the button below. Also, if you have any questions or you want to give me some encouragement, leave a comment. I read and reply to every comment on every video, and I really love hearing from you. So with that, let's dive in. In the last video, I taught you how to create this schedule quote appointment activity. So anytime a deal is created in Pipedrive, this schedule quote appointment activity is created. But let's imagine you are out on site doing a quote appointment and a neighbor approaches you and wants to get a quote for your services as well. In that case, I would be creating a deal in the quote appointment scheduled stage. So I'm going to click to add a deal in this stage, and I'm going to complete this field. I have this form completed, so I'm going to click Save. And then we'll see our deal title update here, and then we'll see this yellow triangle become a green circle. Now, if I click to open this deal, and then I click on these appointment instructions, I'm prompted to schedule a quote appointment. But this quote appointment has already happened, so I don't want my sales team to reach out to try to schedule a quote appointment. That would be really quite odd. So today I'm going to show you how we can update the automation you created previously and create new automations so that anytime a deal is created, there will be a different activity created depending on which stage that deal is created in. The first thing we're going to do is update the automation that you previously created. So we're going to go to the three dots here and then automations, go to our automations here, and then here, this deal added create activity. Instead of this activity being created every single time a deal is created, we want it only created if the deal is added in the first stage of the pipeline. So I'm going to click Edit. I'm going to click the plus button here. And then I'm going to add an instant condition, which is basically a filter. And I'm going to say, I only want this to continue if the deal stage is scheduling appointment, so that first stage of my pipeline. I'll click Apply Conditions and then Save Changes, and now that automation is set where it will only run if the deal is created in the scheduling appointment stage. Now, if you missed the video where I taught you how to create this first automation, you can go back and watch that using the link in the comment section below, or you can follow along. I'm going to walk you through the steps as we do this for each next stage, and you can just apply that to the first stage of your pipeline as well. I'm now going to navigate back to my automations page, and I'm going to click the green button here to create a new automation. Now, the event trigger is going to be the same. When a deal is added, I want this automation to run. But again, I want this only to run in a particular stage when the deal is created. So I'm going to add a filter condition where the deal stage is quote appointment scheduled. I want this activity to be created if the deal is created in the quote appointment scheduled stage. And this is going to be about doing the quote appointment itself, right? So I'm going to apply this condition and then create an action step, and I'm going to add in activity, and then I'm going to complete these fields. For the activity subject, I'm going to have this be to update the important details and send the quote. The activity type, this is going to be quote appointment so that I can track how many quote appointments I actually have. And then the due date, so we can do predefined. We could have this, for example, due today, but I actually want this to be due on the quote appointment date. So if it's maybe scheduled out in the future and the deal is created in this stage still, I want this activity itself not to be due today, but to be due based on the quote appointment date. So I'll go ahead and scroll down here and I can use my custom field, which is here, quote appointment date. Then I need to add some additional fields here. I want this to be assigned to whoever is the deal owner. I want this to be linked to the deal and the person that was created. And then I also want there to be a note where I can add instructions about what to do in this activity. So now I've added those fields and I can make this assigned to the deal owner, link it to the deal that triggered the automation, as well as the organization, and then also the contact person. And then here, this is where I can put instructions for what to do as a part of this activity. I'm going to paste some instructions in here. So here I say complete all important deal detail fields, then prepare and send the quote, update the deal stage to the next stage, and then mark the activity as done. And here I can be even more specific than I was in my blanket activity. I can actually say, hey, make sure that you create your next activity. Your activity type should be this type, and it should be due in this amount of time. I'm going to click apply action here. And then up at the top, I want this to be triggered by any user. So regardless of who creates the deal, I want this activity always to be created if the deal is created in that quote appointment scheduled stage. And then here I can give my automation a name. Again, I like to use a standard numbering system. So if the deal is created in the second stage of my pipeline, this is my first automation, so 2.1, and I'm going to say deal created. Or I could say deal added, create activity. I'm going to click save, and then I'm going to click save again. And then I'm going to make this active for all users. So now if I go back to my automation list here, I have this deal added create activity for stage 1.1 and then deal added create activity for stage 2.1. Let me go back to my pipeline here to talk you through what's next. So the next automation I'm going to create is for an activity to be created if the deal is created in the quote sent stage. And for this sales process, there's no way a deal is going to be created in the revisions requested or revised quote sent stages. That would be way too late stage. We missed the mark entirely if we didn't add the deal into the pipeline until those stages. So I just need one more automation to make sure that every new deal always has a first planned activity. So back in my automations here, again, I could click to create an automation from scratch using the green button, or I can also duplicate an existing automation. And since this is going to be really similar, I'm just going to duplicate my last automation and then make some edits here. So this is just a different way to create automations if you're doing somewhat of a repetitive action. So I don't forget here, I'm going to update the subject or the name of the automation first. So this is automation 3.1. And then this one is going to trigger if a deal is created in the quote sent stage. Then this activity, this is no longer going to be the subject. This is actually going to be the quote follow-up. Type is going to be a quote follow-up activity type. Then the due date is going to be the next day. And I want to skip weekend. So if a deal is created on Friday that we sent the quote, I don't want this activity to be due on Saturday. I want this activity to be due on Monday. That's that skip weekends function. For these optional fields, they're all going to remain the same except for the note. I want to update this to be what the person should do if they are doing their first quote follow-up. I have the updated instructions here, so I'm going to click to apply the action, then I'm going to click save. I'm going to make sure this is triggered by any user and then turn this automation on to make it active for all users. So now back in my automation list view, I have the activity creation for the first stage, the second stage, and the third stage. So now I'm going to demo how all of those automations work. Here you can see I have my activities that are to do, and I don't have any planned activities. But let's go ahead and add a deal to the pipeline. First, I'm going to add a deal to the scheduling appointment stage. I have my add deal window filled out, and I'm going to go ahead and click save. We'll see a yellow triangle followed by a green circle. Then I'm going to add a deal to the quote appointment scheduled stage. And for this one, we'll say they actually called in, but I was able to get the quote appointment scheduled before even adding the deal to Pipedrive. So I'm going to add them to the pipeline in the quote appointment scheduled stage with the quote appointment date here, but the source is still inbound call. I'm going to click save. Again, we'll see the yellow triangle followed by a gray circle. Now, finally, I'm going to add a deal to the quote sent stage. So I'll click this box here and then enter the details. Now in this one, because I'm creating the deal in the quote sent stage, there's actually more details that I need to complete about the opportunity before I can add it. So I need to say if it's for windows or gutters, I need to put an expected close date in, and then I also need to put in all of the details that would ultimately help me create that quote. If I sent the quote, I had to have collected these details. But same as with the other add deal forms, I'm going to click save. And then we're going to have the deal created in that stage of the pipeline and an activity created as well. Now coming back to my activities page here, you see now I've got that gray circle because there's an activity due in the future. Coming back here, if I go ahead and refresh, I'm now seeing all three of those activities. I can sort them by due date, and then to complete the activities, I click the deal link. I can pop open the instructions and follow the instructions there. Each of them tells me what to do next. So here I would mark this activity as done and then create another activity for a couple of days from now. For this activity here, I'm told to send an email template and then create another activity for 3 business days from now. So I would send off that email template, mark the activity as done, and then in the pop-up window, I would do a quote follow-up, due in 3 days. And then finally, for the third custom activity that we created, I'm told as a part of the quote appointment to complete all important detail fields. So that's all of these fields that are highlighted up here. Then I'm to prepare and send the quote, move the deal into the quote sent stage, and then mark the activity as done, making sure to create a follow-up for 1 business day from now. So if I try to move this, I'm actually not able to because these are required fields. And if you're interested in learning more about required fields, check out the videos linked below where I go into details about how to make fields required and when it's a good use case to do so. But from here, I can fill out this form and then click save. I would send off the quote, of course, and then mark the activity as done. And then in this window, per the instructions, I would do a quote follow-up for the following day, click save. And boom, I've now started the activity cadence for all deals that are created in my pipeline in any of the first 3 stages. And I have custom instructions for what to do as that first action for each of those deals. Great job. Just like that, you've set up the most important automation that you can create in Pipedrive and customized it based on the stage where your deal is created. Now your sales team has stage-specific instructions for the first step they need to take in the sales process. And you've ensured deals will always have a future planned activity, therefore never again slipping through the cracks. As a reminder, if you're new to Pipedrive and want an extended 30-day free trial, you can sign up using the link in the description or in the pinned comment below. If you have a question, leave a comment. I love learning about all the interesting things you all are trying to build and helping you get unstuck. Thanks so much for watching today. As always, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe. And I look forward to seeing you in the next one.